Right, let's give this a go. It's been quite a while since I streamed, so I've had to set everything up again, so we'll see whether I've done it right. And we'll see if anybody's watching. So what I'm going to be doing today, see whether this works. Yes, this is a Minstrel 2, the final edition of this kit, we imagine. It's been so difficult to get all of the parts necessary to put these kits together that I don't know when we'll be able to do that again with the parts availability the way it is at the moment. Some of the parts are still showing as out of stock until the end of next year, so this is certainly it for a while. But this is the Minstrel 2. It's available from thefuture8bit.com. And this is a DIY kit. It's ZX80 compatible with a 3.5 MHz Z80 processor, all using real hardware. It's pretty much the same circuit design as the original Z80, just a few changes to make it practical in the modern day with a single RAM chip and a single ROM chip and one extra TTL chip to just improve the video signal by adding the back porch signal, which was missing on the original ZX80 and the first release of the ZX81. So it gives a reasonable picture on most monitors. Modern LCD TVs sometimes get a bit confused by the lack of the colour signal. They're just expecting there to be a colour signal there, and there isn't one generated on these machines. They're black and white, 32 by 24 text display with some graphics capabilities. You can do quite a lot with clever machine code that essentially overrides the standard video generation and generates graphics on the fly. You just need to be very precise with the timing. But as it came out of the factory, well, let's just switch it on, in fact. So, wow, so here we go. So this is the standard start screen with a little K in the corner, and slightly different from the ZX81, that the characters go right to the edge of the frame, whereas on the ZX81 you'll see the bottom edge of the K doesn't go quite to the edge, but it does on the ZX80. And as you type things in, the screen flickers every time you press a key, because you can either draw the screen or run some code. So when you give it a task to do, there's me pressing the wrong key, it stops drawing the screen, does what it needs to do, and then comes back to draw the screen later. So if we run the traditional program, and on the ZX80, unlike all of the later Sinclair machines, it's not P for print, it's O, and it's not Shift P for quote, it's Shift Y, which is a bit confusing when you're first using these. And 20 go to 10. And the longer the program gets, the more time it takes when you go back to the listing. But if I run this now, the screen will disappear for a while whilst it draws it, and then it comes back. If I give it more to do, and just print, say, a single character, then it has to go through that loop far more times, and so it'll take longer to draw the screen. And slowly it'll finish drawing all of those X's and the screen's full. So that is quite a limiting factor when it comes to games, because you can't really move things around the screen. So if we load up an example program, what should we start with? We start with Othello. me run that. As you see again, it's all flickering every time you're doing anything. So I'm going to go first, yes. And it's drawn an Othello board. Right, okay, now let's see if I can remember how you do this. I think you enter row, then column. So I'm black, so it's going to be 4, 6. And it goes away, thinks what its move's going to be, and then draws the screen back again. And, it's not a bad implementation of Othello. This I've spent quite a while playing through it. Computer's a reasonable player. It's better than me sometimes. But you are continually limited by the way the ZX80 can't update the graphics without disappearing, thinking about something, and then come back and draw on the screen. I'm not doing particularly well here. And back we come again. Ooh. 7. I'm doing all right. So a lot of games were sort of limited capabilities there, really, by not being able to update that. Just get rid of that. Yay! For a streamer. And spam, probably. Okay, let me get out of here. Sorry, right, we'll go. So, to get round this, quite a lot of games have developed that basically bypass the way the ZX80 draws the screen and run their own code. So, see if we can find one of those. Remembering that load is on the W key rather than where we're used to it being. Let's try this. This is from only for a few years ago. I think it was 2010 by Paul Farrow, and this is one that, as you can see, there's movement on the screen there. Just let's use a Kempston joystick because I've got a Kempston interface on this ZXpand that I'm using to load files. And let's give this a go. And this was quite a thing for the ZX80. You're actually able to play games. Obviously, of course, I'm not very good at them, but we're also limited to fixed character set most of the time, unless again you get creative with the machine code. And yeah, of course, this is not in any way anything to do with Donkey Kong, but just happens to look similar. Yeah, so that's one of the games where the timing is set up so that every time it goes round the loops in the code, they always take precisely the same number of cycles so that they can come back to draw the screen. I'm no good at this, am I? Come back to draw the screen at exactly the right time. So all of the game code is running in between drawing one frame and the start of the next frame. Let me try another one. In fact, let me try. This is a demo which was actually developed, according to the author, on the one of the first Minstrel 2s I sold. And this is an example of using of creating the high resolution graphics on the ZX80, and it's really quite impressive, given the hardware that it's running on, how simple the design is, and you can achieve quite impressive results. A bit of artwork from the Bull Metropolis. And yet that's just something that the ZX80 hardware should never have been able to do. That's very impressive. And back to the old K prompt. What should we try now? Let's try Breakout. There's quite a few Breakout clones with the ZX80. Is this one of the good ones? Yes, it's not too bad. Oh, it's quite playable. Well, that was good. Might just be able to see the vertical lines there, because those are black characters on the white screen. That's due to the timing of when it's generating the video signal. Try and get this right. The invert signal is generated separately from the character data, and the timing of the invert signal is just slightly too late on the ZX80. It can be fixed by adding an extra flip-flop to the output to synchronize the video signal to the clock, but I've tried to keep where I can to the original schematic, so it still has the same issue that a lot of the original machines had, which is those black bars. You don't normally notice them, it's just on situations like that where you've got lots of black characters together. Oh, no, back to the start. That's not a bad Breakout clone. There's another one called Double Breakout. Now, if I remember correctly, this one is a horizontal screen, and the timing is a bit out, so I don't know how well the video capture is going to cope with this. Certainly if you run this on emulators, it actually loses the left hand side of the screen. And this is one of the is this? Yes, it is. Quite often because of the way the machine code is stored, if you do run, it won't actually work. It will get so far through the screen and then the code that it needs isn't there. So you actually need to start it with go to 1. Right, very, very fast or very, very slow. Well, I'm rubbish at this game, I imagine. So let's try very slow. Okay, and as the keys. Oh, that's better. It's 5 and 7, so it doesn't work with the joystick. Right, what else have we got to try? Okay. Let's try Citadel. Okay, this is a big text adventure from what I remember. Lots of pages of information to go through. Most of which won't make any difference because I don't know how to play the game. And use the commands. North, east, south and west, just with different names. Okay. Oh, carry up to 4 pieces of treasure. Right, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. All of these bits of text take up a lot of code space and nobody's going to read them, but credit to you for trying. You must survive. Okay. I imagine it's now preparing the game. It's doing a lot of code, so the screen's just blanked whilst it thinks about it. The mists of time, as they called it in 3D Monster Maze. Standing in limbo. Well, I can go east, so let's go east. Okay, go south. Okay, nothing much seems to be happening. Oh, here you find a dead right. How nice. East next. East again. Oh, here we find a sword. Right, well, let's pick up the sword. Okay, let's just... What else do we do now? Look around. Well, let's go north now. Manticoria. I'm going to have to drop something, aren't I? To go back to the previous screen then. Drop something here. No. Well, yeah. I think that's enough of Citadel. What else have we got? There's quite a few Space Invaders clones. Have we got one of those? Let's have a look. Invasion. Oh, actually no, let's try Mazogs. That, I think, is a port of the ZX81 version. So that it, yeah, by Paul Farrow, so that it actually works on the ZX80. Again, by doing the clever timing, where every cycle through the code takes exactly as long as it takes to get between the top and the bottom of the screen. So let's have a go at this. Try it out. And I think it goes and generates the screen at this point. Right, okay. Okay. Oh, let's go left. I remember this being quite a nice game on the ZX81 because it was very nice big blocky graphics. Let's just ask for some help here. Thank you, this way. Let's fight this spider. And move on, great. Follow the hints. Oh, hints have disappeared. Right. No, we don't want to go there. This is quite a nice fluid game as well. After all that, there's a sword. Yeah, you can spend quite a while finding your way around here. But I'm not going to. So, yeah, that's a selection of a few games on the ZX80 using the Minstrel 2 Final Edition. Let's just go back to... Isn't that amazing? So yeah, that's the built-up kit of the Minstrel 2 Final Edition, available from thefutureof8bit.com. And if this works, there you go. There's all the bits that you have to put together. You see there are two keyboard overlays. The blue one at the bottom says 4K Basic, which is what we've been using, and the one at the top is 8K Basic, which is the later ZX81 style Basic. These are all written for 4K Basic, which is called Integer Basic, because if you ask it to do something like 7 divided by 2, you get the answer of 3. You can't deal with 3.5, which was a bit limiting, but it was a very minimal system, very simple basic interpreter in a 4K ROM. And the later ZX81 style Basic came along in an 8K ROM and used floating point for everything. So even when it was doing for n equals 1 to 10, it was doing that with a 32-bit floating point number, which took quite a bit, 16-bit I think it was. 16-bit floating point numbers. So you would occasionally get issues where comparisons didn't work because they were very slightly different. So in some ways the integer basic was better, but in the main it's limited by the hardware. And the 8K basic did support some of the extra commands added for the ZX81 for trigonometry and things like that, but it couldn't support the fast and slow mode that the ZX81 had, that got rid of the screen flickering by running a little bit of code at the top of the screen. So it was a lot slower when it was processing, but it kept drawing the screen, which got rid of the flicker whenever you're typing 10, print hello when you go to 10. And as usual, I automatically go to the P key, which is not print on 4K basic, because this has got the Z expand module. P's been replaced by delete, and Z is replaced by cat for file catalog. And there we go. So that was the Minstrel 2. If you want one, get one now, because there's not that many of them left, and I don't know if there'll be any more. So that was it for now. Don't know if anybody was watching. Don't know if anybody liked that, but who knows, I may even be back one day.